Would you join me in giving Sarah and Jennifer a big round of applause and their leadership team? Amazing, amazing job, ladies. Thank you so much. Well, good afternoon. I want to begin by saying it is an honor to be in the room with you. Those of you who are cancer survivors and those of you who are caregivers, you are walking through a journey that most people will never comprehend and understand what you have faced. Caregiving is sacred work, but it is also exhausting work. And sometimes it can feel like you are supposed to be strong all the time. But today I want to gently offer a different perspective. Strength is not found in doing this alone. Strength is found in allowing others in. Scripture reminds us in 2 Corinthians 12:9, my grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. So today we're going to talk about what it really looks like in caregiving. There's a quiet pressure caregivers carry to be organized, to be present, to be strong, and to hold everything together. But the truth is, caregiving was never meant to be a one-person assignment. It was meant to be carried within community. So today I want to give you 6 practical ways that you can live that out. First, accept help. Now, this is often the hardest one, not because help isn't available, but because we like to think that we should be able to handle this. I hear you say, I've got it. I'm fine. It's okay. I don't want to bother anyone. But I want to tell you a story that changed my perspective on this. I grew up in a very small town in western Oklahoma. My dad was the high school football coach. My mother was the junior high secretary. But when I was 17 years old, my mother was diagnosed with advanced breast cancer that would cause she and my dad to have to travel hours from home for treatment and for care. During a very difficult medical crisis, there was one night that my family was gathered at my mom's hospital bedside during a particular difficult season. And at the same time that day, my little brother was having a high school basketball game, which we always attended as a family. And there was this quiet tension because we wanted to be there for my brother, but we also needed to be there for my mother. And then something beautiful happened. That hospital room door opened, and 3 ladies, my mother's friends, who were also the wives of the other football coaches, walked in. And they sat with my mother so that we could go to my brother's basketball game. I remember realizing in that moment that we didn't have to choose because someone else stepped in and carried that space for us. And that's what helping looks like. That's what accepting the help looks like. It doesn't take away from your love for that loved one in the hospital or in care. It expands that love. There are people in your life right now who would be honored to sit in that chair for you, to bring in a meal, to stay for an hour, to give you space to breathe. And so this week, I want you to ask yourself, what can I let someone else do for me as the caregiver? Number 2 is self-compassion. Caregivers are some of the most compassionate people I know. And in the midst of hard seasons of caregiving, they often crave normalcy, a familiar schedule, or a certain rhythm to their day. At Hospitality House of Tulsa, we provide lodging for family members that are of patients that are in the hospital and lodging for outpatients that are here for treatment. When they have to travel to Tulsa for medical care and they don't have a place to stay, that's why we exist. I remember one day one of our guests came down to the Welcome Center and asked if she could borrow the vacuum cleaner. Wanting to be helpful to her, I said, "Oh, well, if your carpet's dirty, we'd be happy to come up and vacuum that for you." And she said, "No, you don't understand. The room we're staying in is very clean, but it's Tuesday." She read the confused look on my face and said, "You see, on Tuesdays at home, I vacuum the carpets. Things are so stressful right now with my husband in the hospital. I just want to do something normal." I gladly handed her the vacuum. Family caregivers can often be the least compassionate towards themselves. I have to tell you, I have a little secret. It's a superpower, actually. I can hear the phrases that you say to yourself. And my dear, you would never speak those words to a friend the way you speak the words to yourself. Phrases like, "I should be doing more. I should be handling this better. I shouldn't feel this tired." But listen, you are human. You are carrying something very heavy, and you are allowed to be tired. Self-compassion looks like this: sitting in silence for a couple of minutes, drinking your coffee while it's still warm, listening to encouraging music, stepping outside for fresh air, taking the dog for a walk, pausing for a moment, taking a breath, and saying, "I am doing the best I can today." And that is enough. Number 3, find a support group. One of the hardest parts of caregiving is isolation, because unless someone has walked this road, they truly do not understand, and that's why community matters so much. Being in a room or even an online space with people who just get it, it lifts something off your shoulders. You don't have to explain anything. You don't have to pretend. You can just be. So find support through community groups like Project 31, or even service membership organizations that meet monthly or weekly. Ask your local hospitals or home health agencies if they can refer you to a support group of caregivers. Find a local church to connect with for Bible study or fellowships. When you connect with people in your same age group and in your same stage of life, it connects you with people who are walking through the same challenges that you are facing. And sometimes strength begins by being seen and known. Number 4, be an advocate. Boy, I can get really riled up right here. Caregivers play a powerful role in this medical journey with your loved one. You are not just along for the ride. You are part of their care team. And that means asking the questions, taking the notes, speaking up when something doesn't sound right. Build a partnership with the doctors, the nurse practitioners, the pharmacists, the social workers, the case managers, and all the other medical providers. I know in this current healthcare climate, it can seem like you are rushed when you go to a medical appointment. It's a culture that feels like you have to hurry through that appointment, that the doctor only has so much time to give. But you can take all the time that you need for you and your loved one to get to the best care for you both. So some practical things that may help you in this journey of being an advocate. Find a journal book that you can write all the information down in one place. There are so many caregiving journals or medical journaling books out there that have pre-formatted pages with headings and sections that help keep the information organized for you. If you want to stop by our booth at Hospitality House, we actually have some journal books like that, and I would encourage you to pick one up. But you can also order these off of Amazon or other pages or other sites that can help you with what you're looking for. Before you go to your next medical appointment, think about the main reason for your visit and what you expect from that doctor or that caregiver. Make a list in advance of the most important concerns and questions that you have. This will increase the likelihood that your office visit will meet your expectation. Use that journal to write down information from that appointment. Consider other reliable resources of information. Are there questions that you can ask your pharmacist or the nurse that might be able to help you if the doctor is not available? Make appointments that fit your needs and your schedule. When you call for an appointment or you book it online, be clear about the reason for the appointment so the receptionist or the medical assistant can schedule enough time for that specific reason. Also, make sure that you book a time of day that works for you and your loved one. If mornings are difficult and it takes longer to get around and get out of the house, then don't schedule an 8 o'clock appointment. Also, pay attention to the traffic patterns to get you there and back home so that you don't feel rushed. Schedule those appointments when it is not rush hour, and that will help you as you show up for your appointment. Remember, you as the caregiver are with your loved one way more than any medical professional is. You are the expert in your loved one's care. You notice the details. You notice the subtle changes. Share that expertise with the medical team because you're part of that team. And if you ever feel hesitant or afraid to speak up, I want you to remember you are not being difficult. You are being diligent. Your voice matters. Number 5, take a break. This one can almost feel impossible because caregivers often think, if I step away, something may happen, or I can't leave. I don't have time. But here's the truth. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Taking a break is not abandoning your role. It is sustaining it. And sometimes a break doesn't look like a vacation. Sometimes it looks like 10 minutes on the front porch by yourself, a quiet cup of coffee, a short walk, a deep breath in your car, letting a friend or neighbor drop off a meal, letting another family member or friend do the laundry, saying yes when someone offers to clean your house or mow your lawn. Even these small amounts of rest make a huge difference. And let me just say, as a very experienced caregiver, when you are first diagnosed and you as a caregiver first step into this caregiving role, you may notice 2 things. One, a lot of people will come up immediately and say, how can I help? Can I do this? Can I do this? And many times as the caregiver, we say, no, we're fine. I want you to practice saying yes. You have no idea what tomorrow is going to bring. And every day that you give yourself rest and let somebody come in is going to be a blessing. The more often you say no in the beginning, the fewer offers to help will come later, because that you have kind of put them in a pattern of asking if they can help and you saying no, and they feel like they're going to bother you if they ask if they can help you again. So say yes early. Say yes early. Promise me? Yes? Yes, thank you. Okay, number 6, find some humor. You know, sometimes you just have to laugh. Did you know that caregivers who maintain and foster a good sense of humor do much better in this season of caregiving? One caregiver told me she had everything lined up one morning. She had the medications sorted in the pill boxes by time of day, by day of week. She had all the instructional notes from all the visits laying on the counter. She had her phone alarm set for every time she needed to remember to do something or take a pill or give a pill or whatever that was. And it was all sitting right next to her cup of coffee. And she took a big sip and realized that was not coffee. She looked in the cup. It was a pale yellow color. And panic set in. What did I just drink? Do I need to call the doctor myself? And then she looked at it and realized she just drank the cold chicken broth she had left in the mug the night before. And she just stood there, and then she started laughing, because in that moment she had a choice. She could cry or she could laugh. And she chose to laugh. When you are caregiving for a loved one, you notice the changes to their appearance, changes to their appetite. The foods they've always loved no longer taste the same. And the foods they rarely enjoyed now taste better. And at times it may feel like you have completely different person living with you right now. Actor Karen Stobbe and her husband Monty stumbled on a skill that they have been using that has given them insight with caregiving for Karen's mother, who is an Alzheimer's patient. And that skill is improv. In 2015, the public radio program This American Life featured the Stobbes and their use of improv to improve their lives as caregivers. Karen's mother, Virginia, at their invitation, came to live with them when Alzheimer's began to quickly take over her mind. Karen noticed that at this time it was very stressful for her as a caregiving daughter. One morning at breakfast, her mother asked her to pass the strawberry jam. And Karen's response was, "Mom, you don't even like strawberry jam. You've never liked strawberry jam. You like peach jam." And her mother replied, "I do like strawberry jam. Pass me the jar." And they got into an argument. Karen realized that every day of arguing with her mother was really just her trying to figure out and face the fact that she was losing the mother that she knew in the past to this devastating disease of Alzheimer's. And this was incredibly heartbreaking for Karen, because she was watching her mother go away every day. And then something changed. One afternoon, Karen's husband, Monty, was sitting with Virginia on their back porch, which looked over a beautiful green belt in North Carolina. And as they were sitting there in the quiet, enjoying the view, Virginia said, "You know, I saw a monkey on the back fence the other day." Monty could have easily jumped in with a very short and curt reply of, "No, that can't be. We don't have wild monkeys in North Carolina, Virginia." But instead, Monty reverted to his professional training in improv, and he stepped into Virginia's world, and instead replied with, it's pretty early in the season for monkeys, don't you think? I don't recall them being around this early in the year. And she said, oh, there's a lot of them, and they're pretty busy right now. Monday said, well, if you see one again, we should try and capture it, because that would be a blast to have it in the house. Virginia quickly replied, you can't keep monkeys in the house. And then Monday said, well, we could. You just have to train it, and we'd give him some pants. Because if you don't put pants on monkeys, and Virginia just cracked up, thinking about the ridiculous idea of having a monkey in the house wearing clothes. And that's where this comes in. Find the humor, keep the joy. Not everything is funny, but because even in hard times, there can still be a little joy. So let's bring this together. Strength in caregiving doesn't look like everything is perfect. It looks like accepting help, giving yourself some grace, staying connected, using your voice, allowing yourself to rest, and keeping the joy. To those of you who are caregivers, I want you to hear this clearly. You are doing holy, sacred, meaningful, life-changing work. Even on days when you feel tired, even on days when you feel like it's not enough, it matters. And you don't have to do it alone. And to those of you who are cancer survivors, your presence, your courage, your journey, it matters too. You are not a burden. You are deeply loved. As you leave today, I want you to carry this with you. You don't have to be strong all the time, because His strength is made perfect in weakness. Thank you all for coming today.